And I just got into it, and I wrote that chorus.
No, it's incredible.
And then
chorus.
I took it to John, and he did the rest.
Wow.
And then he did the chords on the verse and stuff, and then I wrote the rest of the song. And John and I demoed it. That was crazy. We am I rambling on too much?
No, are you kidding? You're talking about writing Rhythm of My Heart, for God's sakes.
Okay,
yeah, we just stop it and get back to your titanium spine, please.
All right, ladies and gents, gather round. We got value going once, truth going twice. Sold for a song. That's right, folks. Rights signed away, data given away, pennies on the play. Publishing, gone. Credit, missing. Ownership, kiss it goodbye. 50 pages of catch-22s, no dice. You can't eat a like, a follow, or a view. Sold for a song. But wait now, hold your bids, hold your breath. Here comes the truth louder than the bass line. Time to take it back, where the artists rise, the system shakes, and the silence finally breaks.
Welcome to Sold for a Song, the transformative podcast that dissects the music industry's long-standing practice of undervaluing its most essential contributors. Yes, we're talking songwriters and artists. In each episode, we'll delve into the journey of recognizing and elevating the true worth and value of music creators, discover how the industry has exploited creators, and learn actionable strategies to revolutionize this trend and take control of your career. Hello, podcast land. I'm Terrance Sawchuk, but you can call me Terry. After 30 plus years in the trenches of the music industry, trust me, I've seen it all. The highs, the heartbreaks, and the resilience it takes to succeed as a creator. Here's what I've learned. Awakening your self-worth, owning and leveraging your value, and streamlining the process to free up the time we need to do what we most love to do, which is create. That's what stands between you and the freedom we're all chasing. All right, before we dive in, if you believe in empowering artists and redefining what it means to thrive creatively, do me a favor, subscribe, leave a quick review, and share this episode with someone who truly needs it. That one click helps more than you know. And if you want to go deeper, join me at terrancesawchuk.com to be a part of the community and follow all of my endeavors for exclusive content and updates. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Sold for a Song. Today's guest is an incredible talent, and I was so looking forward to this show because Marc Jordan just has one of the most incredible dispositions. He's one of the kindest, most eclectic, wonderful people you'll ever meet. He has sold over 35 million albums as a songwriter. He's done over 16 albums of his own music. He has a long record of incredible artists that have covered his songs, from Diana Ross to Chicago, Kansas, Manhattan Transfer, Kenny Loggins, Bette Midler, Natalie Cole, Olivia Newton-John, my God, Joe Cocker, Bonnie Raitt, Josh Groban, Cher, and, of course, Rod Stewart, and most known for the song Rhythm of My Heart. ASCAP Juno Award and SOCAN and Smooth Jazz Award winner. Marc is a living legend, born in America, raised properly in Canada, and if you're really lucky, you get to call him a friend. And that's why he is the perfect guest for Sold for a Song. I might get a visit here from one of my two cats, Tomato and Tomato. Might enter in and say hello.
We've got two cats too.
Yeah, what are their names?
Georgie and we just got them. What's the other one? Edna.
That's my mother's name. My 97-year-old mom. I just spoke to her
97?
in the home up in Espanola. Yeah, Edna. You named your cat after my. That's awesome.
After your mother.
Yeah, of course, after my mother. That's. Well, I hope your cat doesn't live to 97. I'm glad my mom has, but yeah. And I just wanted to welcome you here to Sold for a Song, the podcast.
Nice to see you, Terry. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. I have to say, when I think of Marc Jordan, I smile, and I think when I get up to my eyeballs in the music business in Nashville, where they eat their young. Known to eat their young, and often I say it's a place more for artists to come and die than to prosper. But when I think of getting back to the purity of just writing songs and being artistic, I think I got to call Marc Jordan, and I got to write a song with Marc Jordan, because that feels like that's the safest place to run to and know I'm going to be real and be pure. So I have two one earlier memory of you. You did an article, a print article in the CBC, and in that article, you started talking about your challenge with dyslexia. And I was like, and as you explained it, I was kind of like, hang on a second. That's how I think. And that literally was the first time that I was able to put a name to this thing.
Yeah.
And so I have to thank you for this, like helping opening that door. And I remember a moment when we were writing that song, and I left it with you. I had this idea, piano, vocal idea, and I left it with you. And then you called me back to your house and said, I think I got something. And I came back and you wanted to play it. And you had me sort of voice what you were hearing in your head piano-wise. And then that was one of my perfect dyslexic moments, is when somebody's trying to instruct me with something. You might as well just be giving me Chinese arithmetic. And then I lock into performance anxiety, and then I can't remember anything, and it just becomes a cycle. So, yeah, it's funny, why people enter your life. We wrote a beautiful song, but you also introduced me to a part of me I wasn't aware of that I've been uncovering all these years.
Well, it took me an awfully long time. It was only when my daughter was diagnosed.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, that I looked at her test and I went, that's me, that's me, that's me, that's me.
No kidding.
Yeah, I never knew before that.
What age were you? I was in my 40s before I
50.
started. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? I just thought, after a while, what it did to my confidence, like back in school. I mean, school was a nightmare for me. So 37% on an exam after studying was normal.
Yes.
Failing grade 9 music.
I would study my ass off and get 37%. Yeah. But the teachers didn't know what it was either. Mm-hmm. And they were trying to stream me into auto mechanics,
Yeah.
Not to say there's anything wrong with auto mechanics, but it's not what I wanted to do. My guidance counselor brought me down to his office and told me I had the IQ of a spider monkey.
Which are actually quite brilliant. So
isn't that nice?
Oh man, yeah. It's not a time that I have a lot of fond memories about it as far as the education part of it. And yeah, so what a journey. And it's helped me uncover a lot of things, especially in this whole Sold for a Song movement that I've been trying to create here to bring kind of worth and value back to creators, back to songwriters and artists, musicians. And they say that, you get to an age at some point where you start to serve the previous you. And one thing I don't need is more education and having a debilitating lack of self-worth. Don't need any more experience than that. I'm ready to help others with it. So it's been a crazy and beautiful journey. And yeah, so we have that in common.
But that said, dyslexia is also my superpower.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's the problem, is we frame it as a
deficit. But
a deficit.
Really, yeah.
I think we spoke about this on the phone before. I don't know if you looked into Dr. Gabor Mate, but I love his perspective on it, where he kind of traces it back. There's a few people, Dr. Bruce Lipton, and if you listen to what they say, they'll say, well, there is something in the genetic makeup, but as genes don't really turn on, well, they will. They're based on your environment. So Dr. Gabor Mate will say that sensitive time between the age of 0 and 7, where the brain is forming, and any kind of trauma or experiences that you're having there, it almost becomes like some sort of mechanism, a retreat mechanism. And it sort of stems there. So you're learning this framework in that age. And then, Dr. Bruce Lipton says you'll 95% of your life, you will live from that framework of 0 to 7. And you spend the rest of your life remembering who you actually are and coming back. And once you dismantle all these things, and then, yeah, for whatever reason, that's our journey in this life. But yeah, it's our superpower. This is why we have so many friends who are incredible musicians that work at IBM and whatever. But why Mozart? Why Prince? And when you start digging, you start finding this other neurodiverse element that seems to play a role, at least in my research. So I talk a lot about that lately. But please tell us let's get right back to Brooklyn. Is it you were born in Brooklyn?
Yeah.
And lived most of your life in Canada, stint in LA. Yeah. But you give us the whole from DNA up until this afternoon, and I want to hear all about your new book that just came out.
So, do you want the whole arc of the story why we moved to Canada and everything?
Whatever your journey through life and music is to you.
You can edit this, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I can give you a Ukrainian voice if you want with AI. Oh, not that kind of editing? Well, my dad was a singer. He was born in Montreal. He moved to New York, and he was very successful. But it was the McCarthy era. My dad was a socialist. And in those days, like De Maurier cigarettes would sponsor my half hour on the NBC radio. Right.
With my dad singing. But he was fingered during that era, and suddenly, overnight, he couldn't get any sponsorships. And so that's why we moved back to Canada. He was from Montreal, as I said. So we moved to Toronto, and he did he was on their first sort of CBC television variety shows. They did that for 2 years. And then that ended. And, he was like a radio star, not a television star.
Right.
And so his career ended, basically, with TV. So we struggled, and we were very poor. And they basically put it back together. He became a teacher. And, gave us all, me and my brothers, piano lessons. We all had piano lessons. And I could never learn to read music because...
Yeah, me too.
The notes just float on the page.
Yeah. Yeah.
But my brothers would practice their pieces, and they were ahead of me. But I would listen to them, and I could go and play them.
Yeah.
And it used to infuriate them. But I could basically play them by ear. I had a funny thing, but, we didn't know that I had a problem. But I faked everything.
Yep.
In piano. And I took lessons. I got to grade 3, and I don't know how the hell I did. But anyway, my dad put me with a teacher at the conservatory. And my trick was that I would get the guy to play the piece that I was to learn for next week, get him to play it for me, the last thing in the lesson. I tear off home, remember it. And one week he gave me a piece, I can't remember what it's called, by Grieg. And it goes, ba da 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 da. Very serious piece. Unfortunately, that week there was this clownish band from UK that put out the same piece. So they called it Classical Gas, and they kind of did a version like ba-ba-doo, 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 ba-ba-doo. And I heard that, and I got them confused.
Oh, no.
And I went back the next week to my conservatory teacher, and he put the music in front of me, and I went, ba-ba-doo, ba-ba-doo. And the light went off. Out!
Oh, my God.
Out! he threw me out. And that was it.
It's about execution. Very quickly, the flight of the bumblebee can turn into the theme from Batman.
That's right. So, but I mean, that's how I maneuver. Listen, I also was so fortunate to be born when I was born, and I grew up in that great Renaissance period of pop music, and R&B and incredible stuff, like Four Dead in Ohio. How about what that changed?
Yeah.
Number one in 1 week, and it changed everything,
Really?
As far as campus,
Neil Young?
police putting down campus rebellions, it just ended, and Neil Young. And so, and the Beatles and the incredible R&B, and it was a total renaissance, I believe. I think it'll be remembered as such. So I was lucky, and I could learn most of the stuff, and I could write stuff, and I got over my shyness and played clubs and moved to LA.
Oh, you moved to LA from Toronto, and that was the LA. What year was that? Around
77.
77, LA. And how long were you in LA for?
Till 93.
Really? No kidding. This was your sunny poppy years, your margarita and your the beach soaked sound. There's so much.
I kind of, what happened was I really wanted Phil Ramone to produce my records.
Oh, really?
I loved him. And in fact, years before that, when I heard, I wish I was a something, and I do ba dum do down. I'll think of it in a second. I heard that record, and I put it on my record player, and I thought, oh fuck, somebody's put a new needle in this record player of mine. What the hell's going on here? And it was Phil Ramone. It was one of his first productions. He was an engineer, and I just couldn't. I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe that record. And so I looked on the back, and it said it was done at such and such a studio, A&R Studios, I think.
Yeah,
A&R, I think it was called.
A&M Studios, which became Henson.
No, it wasn't A&M. It was, I think it was A&R.
A&R, really? Okay. And you had to record there now.
Yeah, with Phil. So I grabbed a cassette of my demos, and I borrowed a guy's car, convertible, and I drove down to New York because it had the address, right, of the studio.
Okay.
And I'll tell you a funny story on the way. It was very hot. And I got down there. I left early in the morning. I got down there, and it was sort of evening, and I got lost, and I went through Harlem, and I had the top down. I had stopped at a stop sign, and these kids had knocked the top off a fire hydrant, and they had a can, and they could aim the water that was shooting out.
Oh,
right?
no.
So they arced a huge arc of water right into my car.
No.
Laughed like hell, I thought it was funny. So I drove off, and there was water pouring out of my doors.
Come on.
In my borrowed car. Anyway, so let me think.
And you drove from LA?
No, I drove from Toronto. I was still living in Toronto. I was a kid,
Yeah.
And I knocked on the door. So let me think what time I got there. So it was about an 8-hour drive. So I probably got there around, I left really early. I probably got there around 3. And the guy came to the door. I said, "Is Phil Ramone here?"
At the studio? That's awesome.
He said, "I'm Phil Ramone."
Come on, he was there?
Yeah. He was the engineer.
Oh, he was the house engineer.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I said, "Oh, well, I have a cassette.
Oh, you're the guy.
Of songs. Would you listen to it?" And he spent the next 4 hours with me.
Come on, just sitting in the control room?
He was
kidding.
amazing.
Wow.
Amazing man. I have a picture of myself with him somewhere.
No way.
Anyway, he was an amazing guy. And he played my cassette, and he put it on, and I was so nervous. It sounded like I was having audio hallucinations. I was so nervous, you know.
The cassette was fine. Your head wasn't.
Yeah. And but he was a sweet man, and,
Wow.
and he said, "I'll do a record with you."
Just like that.
Yeah, he said, "Go." I said, "Well, I'm signed to a Canadian label." He said, "Go tell them I'll do a record with you." So I went back to Toronto, and I rushed into my label, and I said, "Phil Ramone said he would do a record with me." And the president said, "Who's Phil Ramone?"
Come on.
And I thought, okay, I want out of the contract. And I did get out of the contract.
Because they didn't know who he was, you wanted out?
Yeah, I was so freaked out that they didn't even know. And they said, "Well, you know, we want you to do some singles up here in Canada." I thought, what are you, nuts? Phoebe Snow.
Phoebe Snow. Okay.
Phoebe Snow's first record.
Okay. Okay, you skipped over the part about how you got the Canadian record deal. How did that? You went from playing the clubs, and how did you get that
Just
first
playing
deal?
the clubs. In those days, the A&R guys used to come down to the clubs.
Yeah.
And they signed me from just hearing me in the clubs.
And you did how many records or singles at that time?
Singles, you know.
Just some one-offs. Yeah.
You know, but
okay, so then Phil says yes. You go on to do what do you do? Move to New York? He came to Toronto. What?
No, I phoned Phil back and I said, "Phil, I've been dropped by my label here in Toronto, but I'd still like to make a record." And he said, "Well, call me when you have another record deal."
Come on.
Well, he did, because he wanted to get paid.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, that thing.
That old thing. So, I was so naive. You know, I didn't.
We all were.
You know.
Are you kidding?
Anyway, so story short, I kept playing clubs here, and I don't know. I think Mary, there was an A&R woman in New York. She passed away last year. Anyway, she got a guy named Marty Cohen to fly out from LA to see me play. And I was playing at the Riverboat. And he signed me to Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers, which city?
LA.
Out of LA. Okay. All right. So there's the Warner Brothers LA years. How many albums did you do there?
2 for Warner's. There was a 3-record deal, but I only did 2. And I went to Warner. I could have gone elsewhere, but I went to Warner because I wanted Lenny Waronker.
Okay.
To produce me. He was a staff producer. But instead, they gave me Gary Katz.
I don't know. Gary Katz.
Gary Katz is Steely Dan's producer.
Ah. The easiest job in history. Make sure the coffee's warm. Dinner's ordered.
Exactly. He had no idea. He was not a producer. He was a gambler. That's basically what he was.
Really?
And he was basically at Warner Brothers because they were the first people that had Watts lines, which were phone lines that he could call all over the world. So he could do what he did on the phone, but he had no idea about production. He wasn't a producer. He was a complete fraud. And so anyway, I got him, and I thought, well, this will be okay. I love Steely Dan, you know, and he's their producer, I thought. That was not good.
Oh, God. I mean, I think, you know, music listeners, fans would be amazed if they really saw what some people can and can't do. Some of, you know, history's most famous producers and, you know, engineers at the end of the day, usually the people that would know more than you'd have the odd producer, you know, your Quincy Jones that were actual arrangers and musicians themselves. That, you know, these are the people that you remember. Yeah, but often it was that executive person that just got the job, or was the brother-in-law of so and so.
Yeah.
All right. So, are we back to the Toronto years yet, or did you stay in LA and write more as a songwriter?
Oh my God, LA was crazy. Then I worked with Jay Graydon, and I worked with all those guys, you know, all those Picaro and Lukather and Jay.
Oh, did you really?
Graydon.
On what capacity? Just they were recording your music?
Yeah.
My God, Jeff Picaro playing drums, or is it Steve? Okay.
Lukather, and just amazing, you know, just amazing players there. And that was the golden years of those studio players, you know. They worked, the great ones worked from morning till morning.
That's why all the cocaine.
You better believe it.
I mean, Jeff Picaro had I remember as a Nico Bolas and when I worked with Al Schmidt and Capitol Studios, I mean, the stories were crazy. Picaro would have 5 drum kits set up at 5 studios around the city, and he would just drive around and do a session, head home, bump a few lines, go to the next session. I mean,
you'd be lucky to head home.
Yeah, if you had time in between sessions. Yeah. Oh, good problems to have. Tell us about the transition between now where you start becoming other people's songwriter, where they start cutting your songs. And when did that start?
It happened through my publisher. You know, I was with Warner Chappell Publishing. Okay. Judy Stakey was my publisher for years and years, like the person who worked my stuff, and a guy named Ronnie Vance. Mm-hmm. And I just started getting cuts.
Now, these are songs that you're writing for your own catalog. You're just submitting them.
Yeah.
Or were you pitching
when
them?
they signed me, I said, you know, I can't write. I'm not I'm not like one of those guys who can sit and write for people.
Right.
All I can do is write songs.
Right.
And if you want to sign that, that's what you're going to get. Because I honestly, if you say write a song for, you know, whoever, I can't get it. Yeah. I can't do that. I don't have that facility. I can only write what I write. Huh?
I love that about you. That's why I always think of you when this town's getting the best of me. And I'm glad I had those roots in Toronto, where, you know, it's funny, back in my era was the late 80s and 90s, and it wasn't really about writing hits. Then back it was, for us in Canada, it was about what kind of mark were you leaving? And what were you talking about? You know, these are the years of U2 and Peter Gabriel, and it was like, it wasn't really about hits. Where here, it's not just about hits. It's what hit have you had this month?
Yeah.
So it's important to have, I'm so glad that I had that before I moved to a major music center.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I had those years with my piano in the basement in Espanola, Ontario, before I even went to Toronto, and all those things that I didn't know were the actual thread of who it was I needed to remain.
Yeah.
And you know what? A lot of my friends here, like the greatest cuts they've had as well, were ones from like their indie solo record from when they were younger. And Faith Hill cut one, and Keith Urban grabbed another one, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it was from their solo music where they weren't. And nothing sucks the vibe out of the room or your life more than saying, you know, Luke Bryan needs an up-tempo song about beer or what. I mean, kill me now. So
it's a buzzkill.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I appreciate so much about you. And that's how I think as well. So what was your first noticeable cut when they started pitching your songs? I'm asking you to remember again.
Well, the first noticeable one was Diana Ross, like literally, and I didn't know she'd cut it.
Okay.
And it was a single.
You just heard it on the radio? Hey, wait a minute.
I was driving on Hollywood Boulevard.
Come on.
In my old Oldsmobile 98 convertible, completely torn, fucked up convertible. And
there wasn't a fire hydrant story in this one too, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I heard it came on the radio.
No way.
And I pulled over, and I basically almost started to cry. I couldn't believe it.
How did you not know it got, well, other than, I mean, this is the thing with publishing. It's like they have your copyright, their ownership, administration. They just do what they want. It could have showed up in some commercial that you were, you know, completely against politically, and you wouldn't even have a choice.
Yeah.
So, but they also got you the cut. That's the good and bad of the business. So that's wonderful. So what, just a string of cuts happened after that? That obviously, helped you and your credibility
you know, I've had a lot of cuts with a lot of people, and I started working with Jay Graydon, so and he was working with Manhattan Transfer, so I did a bunch of songs for them.
Wow. Oh, you wrote for Manhattan Transfer?
Yeah.
Wow. They were wonderful.
Yeah.
Talk about talent.
They really were. And they made some great records with Jay. You know, I did a record with Jay after Gary Katz. It's pretty good, you know. But he did great records with Manhattan Transfer and many other people. But I had a couple of cuts on there, and it just one thing led to another. You know, I got a Joe Cocker song in a movie, and then the Rod Stewart stuff started to happen, you know, and it was funny, like I got a couple of cuts on, let me think of this, what record was it? I'll have to look on my wall of shame here. I can't remember the name of the record, but it was you know, it was right after his dance period. It was time for him to kind of get back to what he was sort of best at.
Right.
And so he cut a couple of my songs, and then of course he cut Rhythm of My Heart a few records after that.
Oh, I didn't know that you had other cuts with him prior to that.
He didn't know either. He didn't know it was me.
And we don't have to keep this part, but you mentioned this in the phone call, how you had the recent experience of writing a new song for him, and he called you about it.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us that story?
He goes, well, I used to ride horses, and I had a few accidents. And it screwed up
that
my
explains
back.
Everything.
Yeah. It started there. It's really unfortunate. But so I had to have back surgery this past summer, and I had a titanium rod.
Oh my God!
Put in my back, and so I get home and I'm hopped up on painkillers big time, right? Because it was really invasive.
Yeah.
And so I'm here for 3 or 4 days, crawling around. And I get a call from Rod. He goes, Marc, my tiny sausage. He calls me his tiny sausage. Marc, my tiny sausage. I say, yes, sir, Rod. I need a lyric right away. And I went, if I can barely talk, right? Okay, around. And I wrote it for him. A few weeks later, he calls me and he goes, I love it. I'm going to record it. And I said, fantastic. And I hung up the phone and I realized I had no recollection of even writing it.
You wrote a song you don't remember writing. Oh, my God.
So I listened to it. It's pretty good.
Apparently it was
Not
pretty
bad.
good. Apparently it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Tell us about the whole experience of writing Rhythm of My Heart. Was with John Capac, is that right?
Yes.
So he was in LA. I thought he was a Toronto boy, but was he in LA those years
No,
as well?
he's from Australia.
Oh.
He came to
That's right,
Toronto.
that's right. Yeah.
And I met him in Toronto because I used to do CBC transcription recordings. And that's when CBC would give up-and-coming artists money. And they put you in the studio with session guys.
Oh.
And you make these records that they played on CBC.
No kidding.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
Good old socialism.
Yeah. But it was great. It gave me a real window into that whole mechanism of, bringing a song. And the first time I did it, I thought, well, I didn't even think about bringing a chart. I thought I'd just sing it for the dude, right, on piano, and he would get it, like I would get it. I went, well, the fuck, are you dyslexic? What's the matter with you? What do you mean you need a chart?
So you met John back in Toronto originally?
He was one of the session guys.
Okay.
And I met him then, yeah. And then he moved to L.A.
Okay, he moved to L.A.
And then I moved to L.A., of course, shortly after that. And, I guess, how many years was I there? So I wrote Rhythm of My Heart in, I think, 92 or 3. I remember I had my keyboard set up in what I guess was supposed to be a dining room in the house I was living in. But I could see the Hollywood sign from my window. It was very inspiring.
Yeah.
So I was playing this thing and I was sort of, my dad did also folk song. He used to sing folk song. He was a classical guy, but he sang folk songs. And so I knew all about those sort of Celtic folk songs because my dad liked them.
Yeah.
And I was just playing this thing and I just got into it and I wrote that chorus.
No, it's an incredible
And then
chorus.
I took it to John and he did the rest.
Wow.
He did the chords on the verse and stuff, and then I wrote the rest of the song. And John and I demoed it. That was crazy. We am I rambling on too much?
No, are you kidding? You're talking about writing Rhythm of My Heart, for God's sakes.
Okay,
Can we just stop it and get back to your titanium spine, please?
So John was signed to Lawrence Welk's publishing company in Hollywood.
Okay. Yeah.
And Lawrence Welk had this big building right on Vine there. And so it was like an office building during the day for Lawrence. But at night, he gave it over to his songwriters, of which John was one, and he had a studio and blah, blah, blah. But he also, at 6 o'clock, when his employees went home, he turned the air conditioning off.
Yeah, save money.
So that fucking building got real hot, real fast. So we hired a bagpipe player, and we called him up, and he goes, it'd be $75. If you want me to bring a kilt, it'll be $100. He said, leave your kilt at home, bring your bagpipe. So leave
the gun, take the cannoli.
Yeah, exactly. So we're there, like, and if you know anything about bagpipes, which I didn't, they're about a quarter tone flat, right. I believe. I think it's flat.
There's a gospel singer of woodwind,
but they just don't. They're not really, 440.
Just a bit outside.
So squeeze harder, will you? Anyway, so this guy's blowing his brains out, and it's about 140 degrees in the studio by this time. And the engineer bolted up and ran out into the night. I never saw him again.
What do you mean?
He just was so, I guess the heat and the bagpipe got to him after 3 or 4 hours. And John kept saying, no, do it again.
The heat and the bagpipe. It sounds like a novel series.
It's an unbearable combination.
4 hours of bagpipe in a studio if I had $1.
Yeah. He fucking ran out into the night. I never saw that guy again. He so John, bless his heart, sort of knew how to work a board more than I did. We finished it ourselves. It didn't sound very good, but we finished it. And this guy, Rob Dickens, heard it. He was the head of Warner Publishing in London. And he heard it, and he thought, and Rod was in his dance.
Yeah.
He was doing his dance music. That was what he was saying. And Rob Dickens said, well, this would be perfect for Rod Stewart, but he's doing dance music now. When he gets out of that, I'll give it to him. And then he became president of Warner Records.
Oh, okay.
And then Rod wanted to get back to making sort of more
serious music,
not dance records, more serious records. And Rob played him. Well, Rob didn't want to play him the song because he thought it was too Rod Stewart.
Really?
He didn't think Rod would go for it because it was just too, I don't know what he was thinking, but anyway, he played him a whole bunch of songs, and then Rod said, well, all right, but I need a hit. So he played him. He didn't want to, he said, well, this might be too on the money for you. Like it's too obvious. And he said, I love it. So, and they phoned me that night. And Amy and I were sitting, and I'd been dropped by Warner Publishing at that point, and we were sitting having dinner in our place. And the phone rang. We were having dinner, and Amy said, "Don't answer it. Finish your dinner." I went, "Yes, Mommy." No, and I said, "I better take it." And it was Rod Stewart. And I thought someone was putting me on, right?
Oh, they called you from the office kind of thing when you heard the song?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That must have cheered you up a little bit.
It did.
Wow. And that was a worldwide number one. Was it a Billboard number one?
Number two, I think. Well, it was number one on some chart, but it was.
I mean, it's a worldwide
on the Hot
smash.
100, I think it was number two or something.
I remember, what year was that? 90 something. I remember talking to somebody, a mutual friend of ours back in that time, and said, how's Marc Jordan doing? I said, tending to his head wound from the royalty truck backing up to his front yard and making another deposit.
Yeah. It was 1989, I think.
I mean, they're 3 minutes long. How hard can they be? I always say.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. So how did things change after that? You were in LA, and then obviously you made it back to Toronto again.
Mm-hmm.
How long after that did you move to Toronto?
Not long. Well, Amy and I got married, and we had a baby, and we wanted Zoe to go to school in Canada.
Okay.
We worried about kids. They go to school because they all have to. The public school system there is broken, and like we had a public school at the end of our street in Beechwood Canyon. And I thought it was a detention center when I first bought the house. I thought it was, oh my God, this is something weird here, because it had razor wire.
Yeah.
Chain link fence and razor wire.
Oh yeah, you see that just in Studio City and Sherman Oaks. I always say LA will bring out.
It was Hollywood.
That was Hollywood?
Yeah.
I always say LA will bring out your inner serial killer.
Yeah, I tell you, man.
So you moved back to Toronto. Obviously, you continued your long solo career, which still goes until today. Amy Jordan, your incredible wife, has had a long career herself. Yes. Incredible songwriter, wonderful creative and friendship with Olivia Newton-John for years. I mean, you guys work so closely together, doing your own recordings together, obviously. Like that, you don't see that too often, where two people in music stay together for very long. And you guys have broken all kinds of records together. So yeah, she's wonderful. I don't get to see you guys.
She used to break a lot of my records.
That's another story.
That's a whole other podcast.
So how about telling us a little bit about the new book?
Well, people have been after me to write an autobiography, and I can't do it because I would never get through it.
Yeah.
So Don Breithaupt, who wrote the Steely Dan biographies.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I remember him
Donald Fagen
from my Toronto days.
And he's a great writer, and he played in my band a little bit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, we're friends, and he said, "Well, I'll write it." And he said, "I'll just interview you." And so we went up to my cottage and did a number of interviews, and over about a year, a whole lot of interviews, and then he wrote the book. And because I would never have been able to do it, so he did a great job. So I'm told. And
have you read your own book yet?
I've read it myself, but and you will understand why.
Well, I can't wait to pick up a copy, and I need to get your autograph, of course, on that.
Well, it's online, baby.
Yeah. You know, I love your website, I got to say. I was just going through all of your stuff on your website. I also didn't know that you wrote some melody and lyrics over some Oscar Peterson compositions. Wow. Talk about a wonderful opportunity.
Yeah. It's amazing.
And so his wife just shared some songs with you? Was that the story? I was listening to the story. You were performing live, and his wife had shared some compositions with you and asked you to put some melody and lyrics to it. Is that right?
To listen to Oscar's archives. So I went to her house about 10 times. Late at night, we'd sit up and go through Oscar's stuff, and it was unbelievable.
I guess so.
Unbelievable.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Just weird stuff, like weird synthesizer stuff.
Really? Oh, he loved the synth. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He didn't know how to use it properly, but just ouch. I got to play his piano.
Come on.
And with the extra octave, and it was just mind blowing. It was such a.
Wait a minute. It was an extra octave. That must be a Bosendorfer. Is it a Bosendorfer that has the extra octave?
Well, I think they put it in for him.
Oh, come on. Really? Of course they did. I remember when he did, I guess it might have been one of his last records. And he had some of these interesting requests where the cover, it had to be shot by the guy that took one of the most famous photos of JFK. I don't remember which photo.
Oh, wow.
But it had to be him. And it was an incredible photo of Oscar Peterson. It just came alive. And then he went to perform live somewhere. God, I hope I'm not butchering this story, trying to go through my memory bank. But he did some performance. I think it was that live performance in Austria with an orchestra. And I'll only do it if Michel Legrand arranges the show. And I was like, oh my God, another genius. And apparently Michel was just like, when he got that call, it was like, just put my food leave it at the door. I'll be back in 2 months. Just leave the food at the door. And when I come out, this show will be done.
Yeah.
Another genius. Wow.
Absolutely.
What a storied career, my friend. And also an incredible artist, looking at your artwork on your website.
Oh,
when did you take up art? I can't draw a straight line with a ruler. I mean, your stuff's got like impressionist like era influence, and like the kind of the staggered images that Salvador Dali kind of like. I mean, your musical themes in it, but it's like when did you start?
I call it flat music.
Flat music. When did you start doing painting and doing art?
Oh, about 15 years ago.
Come on.
Yeah.
You didn't even experiment as a kid or anything?
Well, I used to draw horses because I loved horses. I used to draw them, but I never painted. But it's flat music. It's just
flat music. I love that. Art is flat music.
For me.
I love that. So what's keeping you busy these days?
I got a call from a guy named Cliff Magnus.
Okay.
Who's a producer I used to work with in L.A. Just out of the blue a couple of months ago. And he said, I've been asked to do this therapy, music therapy thing.
No way.
And do you want to do it with me? And I said, well, tell me about it. And he said, well, it's something that's been going on for about 12 years. And they take traumatized first responders and they write songs
with them.
Yeah. And it was unbelievable, Terry.
Wow. Where did you do this?
We did it at the Hope Ranch in Santa Barbara. Up
no way.
Up where Olivia Newton-John used to live, like 5 miles from where she used to live. And it's where Ronald Reagan's ranch is. And
oh my God, yeah. And I made a mistake. I think I made a mistake of calling your lovely wife Amy Jordan. It's Amy Sky, of course. So slip of my tongue back there.
Wow.
There's my edit.
She answers to a variety of names.
Actually, so 2 podcast episodes ago, my guest was Dr. Conchetta Tomeno, Connie Tomeno, who is the pioneer of music therapy.
Wow.
So I have to connect you guys, or the next time you go to do something like that, I'd love to be involved, but I'd love to get let her know what's going on. I'm actually doing a YouTube series, a docu-series. I'm going to be videoing one, so I'm going to be traveling around the country and who knows where else. And it's basically titled The True Worth of Music. So it's kind of a juxtaposition between all the value that music does bring to society, sort of, and then the irony of how the creators aren't being compensated fairly for it. Yeah. And so I definitely want to do an episode with Connie, and she's up in New York in Mount Vernon. But I'd love to connect you in that project, and anytime you're doing that in the future, I'd love to be involved in that.
I'm going to do it next year.
Okay.
And maybe
I'd love to get her association involved too. I mean, if she knows about it, I mean, her association is, famous in that world. So she's very well known and extremely decorated in the world of music therapy. And yeah.
Well, check it out. She might even already know about it. Like they filmed it and everything. Is going to be they're making a film, and I think Jeff Bridges is involved.
Oh, no kidding.
It's quite heavy. And it was absolutely heart-wrenching. It was eye-opening. It was tender. It was actually, it was life-altering for me.
Wow.
Just to hear these guys talk about, I've had guns pulled on me by cops. So I sort of put them in over here, thought of them as certain types of people. But these guys, a lot of them do it out of just a sense of duty.
Yeah.
And they're amazing people.
Yeah. Incredible. Well, thank you, my friend. Thanks for taking the time today to spend some time and tell us your story. And I know that you're still quite active performing live. And like I said, I love your website. I'm going to have to hire who did your website because you did a fantastic job. It is marcjordan.com, Marc with a C, correct?
Yes.
marcjordan.com. You can find everything you want and more. And you've got a contact email on there. Do you have a social media? I know you're on Facebook. You and Eddie Schwartz are always doing your
we're going to do. We're starting out a podcast ourselves.
Oh, wonderful!
Yeah.
Hit me with your best Schwartz. That would be a good name.
Not Terry Sawchuk.
Yeah, that name's been overused. Mostly on Stanley Cups, but
that's right.
Well, thank you for taking the time, my friend. I really appreciate it.
Terry. Thanks for thinking of me.
I appreciate it.
Lovely to see you and talk to you.
If today's episode lit a fire in you, don't let it fade. Subscribe to Sold for a Song, leave a review, and be the spark that helps others discover their own worth. And if you're ready to go deeper, visit terrancesawchuk.com. Let's build this movement together.